What made this story even more explosive was the symbolism behind it. A $10 million opportunity offered outside the WNBA, during an off-season defined by injuries, conflicts, and collapsing momentum, immediately became more than just a headline. It became a statement. Fans began interpreting Caitlyn Clark's rumored acceptance as a reflection of something deeper, something that had been building silently all season. They saw a player who carried the league financially and culturally choosing to step into an environment where she would be valued, respected, and protected. In contrast, the WNBA was being criticized for failing to safeguard its biggest star when she needed it most. The $10 million offer wasn't simply a paycheck. It represented independence from a system that many fans believed had pushed her too far, too fast, without providing the necessary support in return. The reaction within WNBA circles was tense. The league had already been under scrutiny for how it handled officiating, scheduling, and player workload. Clark's injury highlighted the fragility of the league's momentum. Her absence created an immediate and measurable drop in ratings, ticket sales, and national engagement. Sponsors who had recently invested substantial resources into the league suddenly had less visibility. Media coverage shifted noticeably. Fans who had tuned in specifically to watch her play moved on to other sports or platforms. When the rumor spread that she might participate in a major event outside the WNBA, backed by a $10 million prize pool, it triggered fears that the league's reliance on her was becoming dangerously exposed. Critics argued that if a single player's presence could determine the success of an entire season, the league needed to rethink its structure. Meanwhile, supporters interpreted the rumored decision as a smart business move. They praised Caitlyn for recognizing her worth in a market that had repeatedly demonstrated how valuable she truly was. In their eyes, she wasn't abandoning the WNBA. She was simply expanding her influence while preserving her long-term future. After a season defined by aggressive defensive pressure, inconsistent officiating, and constant physical contact, the idea of her competing in a controlled, low-risk environment felt like a breath of fresh air. Fans remembered how relaxed and joyful she appeared during previous golf appearances. The contrast between that version of Caitlyn and the exhausted, battered star at the end of her rookie season fueled the perception that this opportunity could help restore the energy and enthusiasm that made her such a phenomenon in the first place. What added another layer to this discussion was the growing belief that Caitlyn Clark might reshape the off-season model for WNBA stars entirely. Traditionally, players traveled overseas to compete in international leagues, often logging more minutes and facing even more physical strain just to supplement their income. Now, with Caitlyn generating enormous financial opportunities through sponsorships, media appearances, and crossover events, fans questioned whether future stars would follow her lead and avoid high-risk overseas competition. The $10 million rumor became a symbol of a new era where women's basketball players could earn substantial income without sacrificing their bodies in grueling environments. For many, this represented progress. For others, it signaled a potential shift away from traditional professional commitments. Inside the WNBA, some players reportedly expressed frustration. They felt the league had finally begun gaining national attention, only for the narrative to shift toward individual branding and external opportunities. They feared that if top players focused more on outside ventures, the league's internal development would stall. However, other players embraced the idea, believing that Caitlyn's expanding influence could open doors for everyone. They saw her success attracting sponsors, increasing media coverage, and elevating financial expectations across the league. In their view, her participation in a massive crossover event could bring even more attention back to the WNBA when the season resumed. As the debate continued, fans began examining the timing of the rumor more closely. The WNBA was preparing for critical CBA negotiations, with players pushing for improved salaries, better travel conditions, and stronger safety protocols. Caitlyn's rumored acceptance of a $10 million offer could shift leverage dramatically. It demonstrated that top players had opportunities outside the league, opportunities that were safer, more lucrative, and more controlled. This undermined arguments that players were dependent on the WNBA for financial security. Instead, it highlighted how the league was dependent on players like Caitlyn for survival. That realization sent shockwaves through discussions about revenue sharing and player compensation. If the WNBA wanted to retain stars, it would need to evolve quickly. The rumor also reignited conversations about respect. Throughout the season, many fans argued that the league failed to protect Caitlyn from excessive physical play. Clips of aggressive fouls, missed calls, and dangerous collisions circulated endlessly online. Supporters claimed that the refusal to investigate officiating demonstrated a disregard for player safety. The idea that Caitlyn could now step into an event where rules were enforced consistently and injuries were far less likely made the decision feel justified. It wasn't just about money. It was about dignity, protection, and taking control of her athletic experience. As the story reached new heights, more creators and analysts weighed in, and the narrative shifted once again. What began as a rumor evolved into a cultural moment. Caitlyn Clark's possible participation became a reflection of modern athlete empowerment. It symbolized a new era where athletes could dictate their own opportunities, build their own brands, and choose environments that aligned with their well-being and values. Whether the acceptance was fully confirmed or not mattered less than what the story represented. Fans realized that Caitlyn wasn't just responding to an invitation. She was influencing an entire industry's direction. By the time the conversation settled into its latest phase, the message was clear. Caitlyn Clark had once again become the center of the sports world without stepping onto a basketball court. Her rumored decision forced fans, analysts, and league officials to confront uncomfortable truths about the state of the WNBA, player treatment, and the future of athlete autonomy. It also reminded everyone of her and redefine expectations. Whether she ultimately participates or not, the impact of the rumor will continue to echo through the off-season and into the next chapter of her career. Now the question becomes what this decision truly means for her future. Is she signaling a shift toward controlling her career independently? Is she preparing to challenge the league structure? Or is this simply a strategic move to rebuild excitement and protect her body before another demanding season? Fans, analysts, and insiders all have theories. But only time will reveal the truth. What do you think? Is Caitlyn Clark making a smart strategic move by exploring opportunities outside the WNBA? Will this decision push the league to make necessary changes? Or will it create tension that affects her future? Drop your thoughts in the comments because this conversation is shaping the future of women's sports.